Have you ever listened to a speaker who made you want to keep listening, while another speaker lost your attention within the first minutes of their speech? If you want to become like that first speaker, today I'll be summarizing 5 different videos made by a communication expert, Alexander Lyon, where he explains and gives simple tips and techniques that anyone can use to become a better public speaker. The first video I watched is how to organize a speech or presentation. In the video, he explains that every successful speech begins with a clear organization. This means that your introduction should capture your audience attention, introduce your topic, and preview your main points. Now, the body of your speech should only focus on those main points that are either supported by evidence or examples. Finally, your conclusion should summarize all of those points and should end with the final memorable thoughts. I think this information will help me stay organized when I'm actually giving a speech. Instead of jumping from one idea to another, I'll have a clear structure that makes it easier for both me and my audience to follow. The second video I watched is body language for presentations. In this video, Alexander explains that great body language comes down to 3 simple tips. The first tip given is look at the audience. Make clear eye contact with everyone in the room instead of looking at one person or down on your notes. This helps your audience feel more included and creates that stronger connection. The second tip, he recommends using your whole body. This means standing confidently, maintaining good posture, and moving naturally, instead of standing completely still or pacing back and forth. The last tip he gives is that your face and your hands should support your message. Matching your facial expressions to your words makes your presentation feel more genuine and engaging. I think these tips will help me look more confident, and even when I feel nervous inside. My strong body language helps the audience trust what I'm saying and keeps everyone more engaged throughout my whole presentation. The next video I watched is called How to Practice a Speech or Presentation. In this video, Alexander recommends that when you're practicing your speech, your setting should be as realistic as possible. He also suggests practicing out loud instead of reading silently. Another important point that he made is to have multiple practice sessions instead of trying to get everything in just one sitting. I think this advice will help me become more comfortable when speaking naturally instead of relying on my slideshow or just on my notes. By practicing several times, I'll feel more prepared and it'll help me reduce that speaking anxiety. The fourth video I watched is how to practice a speech 3 days out. This video simply gives a schedule that you can follow during the final 3 days before actually giving your presentation. In this video, Alexander recommends that 3 days before, you should be practicing your speech as much as possible. 2 days before, continue practicing, but without making any big changes, just small improvements. 1 day before, avoid making any major changes and focus on just building your confidence and relieving that stress. He also recommends getting enough sleep and avoid cramming everything the day of. I think that by following this schedule can help me avoid any last minute stress and will help me feel much more prepared. The last video I watched is The last video I watched is how to open and close a presentation. In the final video, he explains that the opening and the closing of a presentation is what the audience tends to remember the most. He says that the first few seconds of your introduction is your chance to capture your audience attention. You can use this by starting off with a hook, a story, a question, a statistic, a fact, or quote, or an important, concise story. After your introduction, you should explain your main points and tell them why it's important that this information is being included in your speech. At the end of your speech, summarize all these points and finish with a memorable statement instead of saying like that's it, or thank you for listening, or even do you have any questions. I think that this advice can help anyone like myself and my classmates make a strong first impression and leave the audience with something to remember after the speech. A strong opening gets people's attention, and a memorable conclusion makes a speech more effective and makes your audience remember who you are in your speech. Overall, all of these techniques and tips can help anyone become a better public speaker and can help myself overcome that fear of speaking out loud in front of everyone. Thank you for watching.